On the night of December 31st, 192 AD, Rome fell into a silence soon to be shattered by an event that marked a decisive turning point in the history of the Roman Empire. Emperor Commodus, a man whose reign began as the hopeful continuation of a golden age, was assassinated in his palace. His death marked the end of the Antonine dynasty and the beginning of political upheaval and civil strife. Heir of the philosopher king. Commodus was born in 161 AD, the son of Marcus Aurelius, one of the most admired Roman emperors and a Stoic philosopher. Unlike previous rulers who adopted successors based on merit, Marcus broke with tradition by naming his biological son as co-emperor in 177 AD and leaving him full control after his own death in 180. At first, Commodus showed promise. He was well-educated, popular with the military, and seemingly prepared to lead. However, he quickly abandoned his father's military campaigns along the Danube, made peace with Rome's enemies, and returned to the capital, uninterested in the frontier or the Senate. From that point on, his focus shifted toward glorifying himself rather than governing wisely. The emperor as gladiator. What followed was a reign defined by eccentricity, vanity, and theatricality. Commodus fancied himself the reincarnation of Hercules. He appeared in public dressed in lion skins and wielding a club, and had statues made to reflect this image. He demanded divine honors and renamed institutions in his own name. The Senate became the Order of Commodus, Rome became Colonia Commodiana, and the months of the calendar were renamed after him. More shockingly, Commodus regularly appeared in the Colosseum to fight as a gladiator. Though the fights were staged and his opponents forced to lose, the spectacle horrified the Roman elite. Never before had an emperor so brazenly broken with decorum. While the public was at times entertained, the Senate and aristocracy viewed these actions as disgraceful and dangerous. Corruption and growing tensions. Commodus gradually withdrew from daily administration, delegating power to corrupt favorites and freedmen like Cleander. He became increasingly paranoid, ordering executions on mere suspicion and turning against many former allies. The Senate, stripped of its influence, simmered with resentment. Fear and instability spread throughout the empire. High taxation and abuse of power alienated the provinces and the military. Meanwhile, inside the palace, fear reigned among those closest to the emperor. Commodus's mental state appeared to deteriorate, and his whims became more unpredictable. By the end of 192, he announced he would mark the start of the new year, 193 AD, by fighting in the arena, not as emperor, but as a gladiator. This theatrical move was perceived by Rome's elite as not only humiliating, but politically catastrophic. The idea of an emperor lowering himself to the level of a slave gladiator was too much for many to tolerate. The conspiracy. A conspiracy was hastily formed by key figures at court. Marcia, Commodus's favorite concubine, Quintus Aemilius Latus, the Praetorian prefect, and Eclectus, a high-ranking palace official. According to the historian Herodian, Marcia discovered a list of names scheduled for execution and saw her own. Realizing her life was in imminent danger, she acted quickly. On the evening of December 31st, Marcia gave Commodus a cup of poisoned wine. He drank it and soon began to feel ill, but the poison failed to kill him outright. Alarmed, the conspirators turned to Narcissus, a wrestler and personal trainer of Commodus, known for his strength and loyalty, until now. As Commodus bathed, weakened by the poison, Narcissus entered and strangled him. The emperor, who fancied himself a god, met his end in silence, with no crowds, no honor, and no last words. Aftermath: a broken empire. To avoid public unrest, the conspirators initially reported that Commodus had died from natural causes. But the Senate moved quickly. They convened, denounced him as a public enemy, and ordered his memory to be condemned, a practice known as damnatio memoriae. His statues were destroyed, his name erased from inscriptions, and his divine cult dismantled. The conspirators installed Publius Helvius Pertinax, a respected senator and military commander, as the next emperor. He accepted reluctantly, knowing the risks. Though he tried to restore order, Pertinax ruled for only 87 days before being murdered by the Praetorian Guard, who were enraged by his efforts to reform and reduce their privileges. Thus began the chaotic Year of the Five Emperors, a period of rapid successions, civil wars, and imperial assassinations. Rome's political structure, once stable under the adoptive emperors, descended into crisis. Legacy and historical judgment. Commodus's assassination marked not only the fall of an individual, but the symbolic end of the Pax Romana, the long period of relative peace and stability. While his predecessors sought to serve Rome, Commodus ruled for his own glory. His reign revealed the cracks in the imperial system, the fragility of succession, the dangers of unchecked power, and the growing discontent among Rome's ruling classes. Historians view Commodus as a cautionary figure, not merely a madman, but a symptom of deeper problems within the empire. His death did not bring peace, rather, it unleashed a new era of turmoil. In killing a tyrant, Rome also lost its last tenuous link to a more virtuous imperial past.